Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome to Bengals On The Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. This is episode 54, and I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. We're going to continue looking at some prospects today, watching some film. There's really no news to update for the Bengals. Nothing's happened in the last, few days. That's probably how it'll be. We'll just jump into film unless something happens. This week in NFL news, though, is the Senior Bowl for us. I mean, there's obviously, we know now it's the Chiefs and the 49ers making it to the Super Bowl, so great. But the Senior Bowl is happening down in Mobile, Alabama, which kicks off the draft season, in my opinion. And that is their slogan. The draft starts in Mobile, but it does. This is where we're going to get introduced to a lot of players. It's practices on NFL Network. You'll catch that on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So depending on when you're watching this, look for those during the day and then late afternoon. Those are great. You always find players that stand out and rise up. I remember guys like Aaron Donald coming into that week, being a second-round pick and just absolutely dominating to the point where it got him on the path to the first round. Then the combine happened, and it was a lock top 15 pick. But a lot of guys move around, and a lot of guys get highlighted in good ways. Tank Dell last year really put the spotlight on himself. So I urge you to watch that. We will probably review some of it next week because it is a big game and it is a big part of the offseason. But today, we're going to stay with the defensive tackles, probably the last time before we move on. I've got some other positions I want to hit up. And we've only done 2 defensive tackles so far. We've done Jerzon Newton out of Illinois. We've done Byron Murphy out of Texas. I'm not saying we're done with defensive tackles, but there was 2 other guys here on the consensus board right now in the top 40 to 45, depending on whose consensus you're looking at. And I wanted to see if these are 2 guys that could potentially move up and get into the range, whether that be with a good Shrine Bowl or Senior Bowl or a good combine. And are they on the cusp of, should we write them off completely at 18? Or would they be targets and better targets for pick 49, which is what the Bengals own in round 2? So we will start with the first guy, Leonard Taylor III out of Miami. And then we'll move to Kris Jenkins. If you remember, his dad played a long time with the Panthers from Michigan after that. Compare these two. Are they worthy of moving up to 18? Or are we more looking at day 2 for these guys? Let's draw the line before we move on to the next episode where we start to get into other positions. Let's break down the film. Number 56 there at the nose tackle spot is Leonard Taylor, and he will be our focus from the first player today. A lot like Byron Murphy, we're looking at a guy that's 6'3", 305, and going to play nose tackle here. And I don't think he's in nose tackle at the NFL level. We're going to get to see him take on some double teams because of it. But again, we're looking at a guy that's barely 305. You don't see nose tackles at that size typically. They're normally 325 and 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Maybe not always 6'5", because losing leverage and being that height can be an issue. But anyway, the film. Leonard Taylor here. We're getting right off the bat, Texas A&M is down near the goal, and we're going to watch him get completely crumpled on the inside as he takes on this double team, and his defensive tackle next to him is going to get blown into his knee, and so is the guard too, more the guard than anything, but that's what ultimately takes him out. But I did want to show that play right from the rip because he's playing nose and because he's getting double teamed there. And on the second play, that center just walled him off and kept him going down the field. Again, we're getting a double team. So we're getting 3 plays in a row here. And even though he's not at the nose, he's going to get the left tackle and left guard. Left tackle is going to just completely wash him to the other side of the field, right? So right off the bat, we're setting this up, setting the tone. And as I'm watching, this is the first game I watch, and I'm like, yeesh, again, we got to watch a guy that is just going to get his butt handed to him at the nose tackle position. So now we get him at the 3 tech spot where I think he'll play more in the NFL. And that's basically outside the outside shoulder of the guard, right? So that gives you the opportunity to pass rush upfield, come back inside to in between the center and the guard here. It gives you two-way goes. It gives you one-on-ones more, gives you more space to operate and do what you need to do. And he gets nothing there. He no move to speak of, nothing to really talk about. But something I wanted to put the point here is like you look at all the linemen next to him, how they're attacking, really their head down, their posture's down, they're staying low. He likes to pop up a lot and get his vision into the backfield, pop up and try and wrestle guys from the waist up. And I think that's what gets him in trouble, especially when he's taking on double teams or holding his point at the point of attack, holding his ground at the point of attack. You see it there as he gets washed inside, and not I wouldn't say washed that time. I would just say he's unable to affect at the point of attack. But here you go. Here's a play where he's playing tall, and that's okay here because he is going to stand this guy up, disengage, get eyes in the backfield, and now go make a tackle in the backfield, and he does. So, so through 5 or so plays here, we see him um, have to take on double teams and really get worked in the run game. And that is something that will be a trend. He's not the best versus the run, but I was told who to watch this week with Leonard Taylor and Kris Jenkins from subscribers on Twitter that were like, hey, just keep it rolling with these guys. We think they're the next one. So the one guy pointed out that, hey, you're going to see Taylor playing nose way too much this year. I think it was 60% of his snaps, where last year was just 5% of his snaps. So I got to find some film from 2022, and maybe we're going to put a pin in this later and come back to it. But as for now, we're just evaluating what we can from 2023. He's going to loop around the outside. We saw this a lot with Byron Murphy. We saw it with Jerzon Newton, of course. So let's watch him on these loops and stunts and twists and all the things defensive lines like to do. And he did his job there as far as it goes. Gets in the quarterback's face, gets his hands up in front of the passer and disrupt it just a bit. Taking on a double team here, and then goes one-on-one with the right guard and spins to back towards the outside. The running back just fills that gap. He just makes a bad decision there to get his eyes off the running back and spin to the outside. Trying to split a double team. He gets a little power there from the side angle, which I didn't clip. He walks those two back pretty good. So nice jolt of power in there. Again, some nice power against the center. You see the hump move and how far back the center is. It strings the running back out and allows everyone else to get in there and make a tackle on the play. Again, same thing here. He's getting hands on that center. He's not giving up any ground at all. If anything, he's pushing them back, disengages from the upper part of their bodies. You'll see that a lot with him. That's why I said he plays high. So all of his disengagements are going to be from the upper body, torquing a guy off of him. And you're going to see it throughout the 3 games, the 2 games I have lined up. I have 3 for Jenkins. Back at the nose tackle spot, right over the center. It's going to slip him, not be able to turn the corner here on the quarterback, but he did affect him and make him bail in the pocket, I believe. So you can give him a disruption there. Not so much a win as a pass rusher on that one, but I did want to point out that how often he's going against double teams, because when we get to this, and man, watch he and 64 is at the combine or the Senior Bowl as well. So watch him this week. They had a lot of battles. 64's grip strength at right guard there. I got to look up his name, but really impressive. So again, against the center here, before I get to what I want to show there, you can see him line up against the center from the nose. Just stand him up, disengage, take on the ball carrier, right? And then from here, I want to point out with every defensive tackle that we're going to watch. And I think it's an underrated attribute. I think it's an underrated skill that no one talks about, because it's something that I think separates some average D tackles from some great defensive tackles. And I think that's tackle radius. And a tackle radius is how far outside of your frame you can still make a tackle. And there's a lot of layers to this. Some guys are really tight, like that inner circle there, where they'll just stand a guy up, stick their arm out, and if they can and hit you with their arm, they'll wrap up a running back and take them down from there. Some guys, like Leonard Taylor, we will see, and we'll see it with Jenkins as well later, they can explode out of their stance. They can burst towards the ball carrier. You can be outside their arm lengths. Let's say if they got a 6'5" wingspan, they can get outside of that with that burst and athleticism, and they can dive and trip guys up. and they have a little bit more range in their tackle radius. And we'll see that with Leonard Taylor at times. This is not one of them. He cannot get outside his frame here and make a play on the ball carrier, but he does help trip him up and get him to his linebacker, making that angle tougher. He's going to go with like a push-pull here, and then you see how high he is again? So even as he wins here, he gets pushed inside by the left tackle, pushing his teammate into him. You lose a lot of balance when your feet underneath you are not wide. You don't have a great base. When you're very narrow, you can get pushed around a little bit. And for a strong dude, he does get pushed off his mark a bit. You see there, he's getting in the passing lane. Quarterback bails the pocket and goes to the left. Here's a great example of what I'm saying. Okay, you see him on the dirt there, on the ground. And now we did this with Jerzon. We did it with Murphy. When you get to this point right here, watch him swipe with his hands. He misses, right? Like, this was an issue with Murphy and something with Newton that I tried to explain. Like, his hands were landing. His moves were super clean. And then they weren't so clean with Murphy. But now we're getting to Taylor, and his hands are really an issue to the point where he gets himself in a lot of trouble here. So he misses his two-hand swipe. And then what's he going to end up with in a situation where now who's got the inside hands? The offensive lineman, right? 64. These two had a great battle all game long. Now you're stuck in a position where you should have cleanly beat them and should have had the path to the quarterback. But now you've got to win in a second move now because your first one didn't land. So there you go. We've got it to the point where the O lineman, if you're, let's say we're doing it from 64's perspective, he gets his hands back inside and now he's shoving Taylor out and around the arc so that he doesn't have a direct, easy path to the quarterback. He does such a good job shoving him with so much strength that Taylor trips over the right tackle. Remember the play where Newton crushes the quarterback and gets that flag? If you want to go back to that tape, his feet, the way he gets out and away from that right guard, and so he doesn't trip over the right tackle. Huge. All right, so we're going to have a pretty decent win here. Power, and then shedding 64 this time, getting in the quarterback's face and the passing lane. Picked off because of it. So good job by Leonard Taylor there. Definitely a better pass rusher than a run defender. Not just that game. I think that's something I'm going to bring up in the data as well. But it could be just because he's playing nose, and I don't think he's cut out to play the nose, which is where he's at again. And he gets torqued to the ground here. I mean, that's some strength there by that Clemson guy. Midsection. Everyone thinks strength is just your legs and arms. So being able to torque with your midsection and flip a guy out of there, your rear gets involved in on that, your base. Yeah, that's full body strength when you can do that. Trying to split between the center and right guard here, ends up on the ground, can't keep his balance. Again, narrow base as he does that. He does a great job fighting through the trash here and then staying with the running back. Here, tackle radius. What do we got? He's outside your arm length. Give up a decent sized run. Can you burst? Can you leave your feet? Can you get to that guy? We got a power move here. Let's watch Leonard Taylor's hands. Go for the hump. Oh, look at that arm. It's behind the guy's head. It's behind his helmet because he missed. Now he's got to go to his second move here. There it is, but it's too late. By then, the right guard's coming over and helping you out. So again, the hands not landing with a consistent, with any consistency. I want to go back to just here where I had his feet circled here because now we get a nice wide base as a nose tackle. Maybe too wide here. Let's see how it plays out. But you can see he's really trying to absorb and take this on, and he does a great job. He absorbs that contact, locks out. So you got stacking here, and now you're peaking. Can I find the running back? I can. Can I shed now? So stack, peak, shed. He does. Ball's going the other way, so but that is textbook on how to take on a block. Much better there. So again, we've got a situation where we're going over almost a full gap to beat this guy because there's no help here from the guard. The lineman, when he gets his arm out like that, can you either knock it down and get him to fall, or can you lift it up, maybe even get a penalty? But if you can lift it up, then you got a clear path to the quarterback. If you can't disengage and get that arm off you, you end up getting slowed down just enough for that quarterback to get out of there. You need to win cleanly with your hands and athleticism and gain depth. So here we go. Well, you had like a little move there as he's coming around on this loop. He should be able to run the arc. We saw Murphy be able to run the arc. We saw Jerson Newton be able to run the arc from the middle of the from playing nose. But let's watch here. Watch his hands again. Watch Leonard Taylor when he gets to the right tackle. Nothing. You're not hitting any arms. So now the right tackle gets his arms back on you. Now the right tackle is getting back in position. He's cutting you off. Now you're going to swat his hands again. Right tackle again. Replaces and gets his hands back in position. Hey, who's that right tackle? Because that is nice. Number 78. I have to look him up just because of that. Little arm over move, gets the center with it, which is nice. Nice to see him use a finesse move because he likes to only use power. Again, we're going to the outside here. Can you get off this left tackle? Not really. Back at the nose tackle spot. Goes over 2 gaps here. Gets his eyes on the running back. Again, really good job now. So you saw that, right? He gets over, peeks real quick, goes inside, finds the running back again, stays with it, and makes the tackle. Or double team there, fighting with the double team. Just getting that quarterback's vision. Does just enough. 44 comes in and knocks the ball out. Miami gets the ball back. This was a tight game all the way to the end. Now he's starting to get some pass rush, heating up, beating him with a little bit of speed off the snap. Yeah, there we go. There it is. I want to go back to that play. Take on this right guard one-on-one from the 3-tech spot. You get there, but like everyone's blocking down to the right. Our right as the defensive side. And you get there before him, underneath him, stand him up. Now you're full. I mean, he is standing straight up here. But you beat him to the spot first, so you kind of can do that. Now let's shed, make the tackle in the backfield. Good job, Leonard Taylor. That's when he's good against the run, when he can penetrate. Again, man, tackle radius. Can he get this quarterback down? He doesn't, but his guys get there. We'll take it. We'll take the pressure. We'll take the disruption. He's just beating these guys off the snap here, man. Causing chaos at this point. These are plays in a row, too. Like, he's firing at this point. Whew, this is a great play by Leonard Taylor. So he's going to take the center. Nope, that center goes that way. It's the guard. He's going to swim, move him, arm over, and the guy that's pulling, he just throws him out of the way. Like, get out of my way. You don't know where you're even going there. And he makes that tackle at the line of scrimmage. That's a great job. Going a little power with the center. Guard comes over, helps out. Power again. Stack. Peek. Shed. The guy went the other way. Ooh, and then that center kept going. That center kept going on him, didn't he? I didn't know if I noticed that originally. Yeah, okay. So as he tries to come around now here, this center is not giving up. Watch 56 keep going with Leonard Taylor. Throws him right over the pile. Man, 31 almost got his knee taken out if he did. Come on. Finish the play. You got to pressure here. Got to win cleanly, and this could be a sack. Don't let him get the ball off. Get that left arm out of there. A lot of pressures. Not a lot of sacks is how I feel Leonard Taylor is going to be. Whew, we're starting to get some nice power moves here. Just tossing these guys off to the side. That's a couple in a row now. Again, we're tossing the center at this point. Maybe he can play nose. Maybe this is why he's playing nose. Can you do it against the guard? Yes, you can. All right, Leonard Taylor's on fire now. He ends this game really, really well. You see it. He's just lifting these guys up, throwing them down. And now because of the power, like, look, the running back folded on contact there. Do you see the reverberations in his pads? Watch as number 1 comes up to try and chip here. Boom. Man, he felt that. Leonard Taylor packing a punch there. And now we're getting to the end. They got to make a goal line stand here. And he throws them off. Again, give me that center. Stack them up. Throw them to the side. Help make this stop. I believe Miami wins off that one. So I watched 2 other games from 2023. One being Florida State, and that was not a good game. I wasn't going to subject you guys to that for Leonard Taylor, but I am interested in see what 2022 is offering if he's playing 3-tech more often, especially when you look at his numbers. And I'm bringing up his production, overall his market share adjusted production, which brings in his age, who he plays, and how the rest of the defense has played around him puts him in the 75th percentile. So not bad. You could take that in the first round. You could definitely take that in the second round, though. It's not an elite production score or anything like that. But his numbers, so 2023 PFF, he has a 74.7 overall grade, but for 2022, an 87.3 grade. So huge difference. I mean, from borderline elite in 2022 to meh, solid to good in 2023. Just over the last couple of years, though, his pass rush win rate over the last 2 years, 15.4%. That's second out of everyone in this draft class. Pass rush win rate. That's pretty good. Run stop rate, 7.8%. That's in the average to below average range. So, like I said, felt like he wasn't very good against the run. That remains true in the data. Career pressure rate, 11%. Pretty good on the good side, not elite or anything like that. But his sack and hit rate, decent from above average, I would say, at a 3.55%. Overall, when you look at the data that matters the most, the three that matters the most, his defensive grade, his pass rush percentile and pass rush grade puts him in the 93rd percentile. His pass rush win rate puts him in the 97th percentile. Those are good numbers. Honestly, his numbers, my guy Neil, who does a lot of data collection for us, especially when we do our draft spreadsheet. If this is your first time seeing what we do, you'll see a draft spreadsheet that'll have more data than anyone else is putting out there. And I'll have film grades too, because we combine the film with the data. But his profile looks almost exactly like Chris Jones, who went in the end of the first round to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, almost identical from like percentiles. Okay, so let's do defensive grade overall. Chris Jones was 77.9 percentile. Leonard Taylor, 73.8 percentile. Pass rush percentile, 88% for Jones, 93 for Taylor. Win rate, 92% for Jones, 97% for Taylor. Their run defense grades for Jones, 44%. Like I said, Taylor was in the 28th percent, so that's not good. Those are red flags. Run stop rate, 64% for Jones, 62% for Taylor, and it keeps going. I can keep, it's almost within a few percentage points, each one of the numbers we look at between Chris Jones and Leonard Taylor. So again, I'm putting a pin in this. If I can find some 2022 tape, we will talk about it, especially if some hype or buzz starts getting created about Leonard Taylor potentially going in round one. I would not take him at 18, but 49, I think he's worth it at least. He's an intriguing prospect, especially if he tests well at the combine. So, put a pin in Leonard Taylor's name for round two. As of now, Kris Jenkins is next from Michigan. Interesting player. They had a heavy rotation there. He was highly recruited. So was Taylor, actually, both these guys. But Jenkins with the pedigree, his father played for a long time in the NFL. His run defense grades really high. Pass rush grades really low. So the opposite of Leonard Taylor. Let's check it out. Okay. Kris Jenkins. He'll be number 94. And while he's inside right here, he does end up way further out than Leonard Taylor does. So he's head up with the left guard there. Sheds him, fills the hole. He runs really well. He moves and bursts really well. He tackles really well. You can see why he's a very stout run defender, has good vision. Not the most powerful dude. Again, we're looking same size as Leonard Taylor in the 6'3", 305 range. You see him celebrating after these run defense plays here. We're going to have Ohio State, Alabama, and then Washington. So the three best teams Michigan played to end the season. Does good job tracking down that ball carrier. I mean, like, he closes very, very well. Good range as a run defender as well. He could do some, before I go too far, he could do some 3-4, 5-tech stuff, I think. Very similar probably to how the Bengals use BJ Hill. So I think that would be a guy that can maybe learn underneath him. All right, so on to this play. You'll see his awareness as he understands here. They're letting him go. He stops and says, okay, they must be pulling. And he sees it, and he's going to try and absorb the pullers, stone them if he can. And you'll see it there. Bang. And then he still ends up disengaging and helping make the tackle. So force him inside to where your help is. Help and make the tackle. All good stuff for number 94. Kris Jenkins throws the center down there. Was that the center or the left guard? Left guard, looks like. And makes a tackle there. So you see the power, able to flow with the football. He's in a heavy rotation, so you're going to get like 10 snaps from each of these games. It's going to be a shorter video than it is Leonard Taylor. But you see, he's not giving up much ground at all, being a pest as a run defender. Split out wide here. He's basically at the Dion spot. Walks that tight end inside, locks him out, sees the running back. Here we got tackle radius, right? Very good tackle radius for Kris Jenkins. Very good. He's got a lot of burst, a lot of agility. All right, so we're going to get a win here as a pass rusher. And when you see Jenkins win in these 3 games, it's going to be with a spin. Look at the spin. It's clean. And we're going to break down how the spin works for him and how to set it up later when he pulls it off again. But that's really about the only one you get in this game in terms of winning as a pass rusher. So let's continue versus Ohio State. Down the line we go. Keep working, follow flow with the play, and make the tackle. Lots of tackles in this game. So we're going to swim this guard. The right tackle is going to come down on him. Keep working it. Don't give up any ground. Your boys scrape over the top. So you end up in on that game about 5 or 6 nice run defense plays, 1 pass rush win. That's it. Very uneventful game other than that, which is why his grades look the way they do, and we'll get there at the end. Here he is against J.C. Latham, getting torqued out of there. Look at Latham. Whew. We'll get to him, right? We will. That was me cracking my knuckles. I was so into that one, but we'll get to him when we get to the offensive line. It'll probably be our next position. So watch Jenkins on the outside here, looping around. Can he get to the quarterback? Gets picked up nicely, but still, everyone collapses. Got to the QB. You're going to see him work across the D line here against everyone eventually. Does a good job there. He's forcing that running back to bounce out. That's supposed to go inside originally, but he wins and gets into his path. Now, the thing I want to show here is Latham and the entire line want to go to the left here, right? So watch everyone flow to the left, and you can even see Jenkins is slightly shaded outside of him. He's supposed to be head up, but he's slightly shaded to the outside, and he's still going to beat Latham across his face and into the front side, which forces the running back to bounce it out. So getting off the snap, getting head position against Latham, who's a mauling run blocker, it's a good thing. Tackle radius, can he get to this one? He peeked inside a little bit too long there and misses it. Good run. Physical run there. Spinning. You never see a spin broken tackle. You see them making the guy miss with that, but we got tackle radius. He helps from the backside, getting the quarterback down. Standing up as he rushes. Gets through there. That's a nice pressure. We'll take it. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a better NFL player with a consistent role and a consistent playing time. He's winning on these in short bursts. Now that's the Alabama game. Again, we've got 20 snaps at most. It's a heavy rotation. He doesn't play a whole bunch. I consider him a starter, but there are stretches of the game where he's not even in there. So now we're in the national championship, and we're gonna see. This is a good portion of it. See a spin move right away as a pass rusher. Lock that guy out, and I believe this is the left tackle for Washington. That's going to be a top 40 pick or so. I think he's supposed to go in the first round, but let's be safe and say top 40. Spin move, and woo! Let's do the anatomy of a spin move finally. All right, so you want to look like you're rushing upfield, and then you're gonna spin back inside here, and you do it at this time as the right guard here is saying, okay, he's rushing upfield. Let me lean in, let me flow with my feet that way. And you can see his posture, everything is leaning forward. The weight is going towards the front of him onto his toes. That's where you want him to be. And you also want that right foot to be off the ground, meaning the left foot is planted into the ground. And why that's important is because the left foot, if the left foot's planted, the right foot's up, the right foot, the outside foot has to come down and the inside foot has to come up, right? That's how we walk. One foot goes down, the other one comes up. Same works with your footwork here. So as the right foot goes down, the left foot is going to lift. This is important because now once the right foot's down, the left foot is going to land about right there, and then the right foot is going to take another step there. So again, remember, we want to attack back inside. So we know his next two steps, no matter what, are going to be even further outside here. So watch. Now we're going to hit the spin move. Look where his 2 feet land. Because of that, because of the timing of it. So it's not just the weight and the leaning to the outside, it's the timing. What step is he on? Because it's indefensible. I mean, that foot has to come up. Again, this is that left tackle, man. This is that left tackle. And he's not going to be able to knock this outside hand down here. He's trying to, right? Right there. He wants to break it, rip, and he can't. But look how much further. So, as an athlete, also, another way to win is to gain depth from your blocker, especially a blocker that wants to grab and lock in on you and wrestle with you. If you can make contact, lift him, whatever you got to do, but then gain depth as you're pass rushing, right there. Look how much further the tackle is over his toes. He's completely overextended here. And you've got a chance to beat him just by being an athlete. And he does there. The running back picks it up, and Roma Dunze couldn't pick up that pass from Michael Penix Jr. Spin back inside here. Watch how he peeks on this. I like the way he's looking inside up through his peripherals. His eyes are there. He sees it, spins back inside, gets a hand on the ball carrier, slows him up just a little bit, makes that window, makes that running lane tighter than it should be. Get another great run defense play here. Standing up the right tackle, arm over, flow with it, be your inside help for your boundary defenders that are trying to push him back inside to you. A little bit of power against that left tackle. Don't let the quarterback step up into it. Power against the right guard here. He can't finish it. You see, he wants to lift that hand up. It's too late. Ball's coming out. He at least forces a bit of an errant throw, and that's his last snap against Washington. So looking at some of the data with Kris Jenkins, I don't have his market share data yet. That's still being compiled, but he didn't have a lot of sacks. I think 2 sacks in each year, the last 2 years. But his overall grade for PFF was an 82 this season and 80 last season. His pass rush grade, a 70. That's as low as anyone in this class. So you saw it in there. He's really just got the spin move that he can win with. But you wonder if there's more to it and more there because he does look like he has the athleticism. Run defense grade, though, of 82. That's one of the highest in the classes. True pass, 76 grade. So his pass rush win rate, a 9%, is almost the lowest in this class. It's in the bottom 5 of the guys that are expected to go in the first 5 or 6 rounds or so. So, other than the undrafted guys, run stop rate, though, is the highest of the entire class. So where can you take a guy like that with Jenkins that may have some pedigree to him? The flashes are fine, but if you can't help me as a pass rusher, the absolute highest you can go is the 3rd round. I don't think he can get into round 1 at all. He'd have to absolutely blow up the combine and people to say, we can teach him how to be a pass rusher, but that's a super risky. That's like saying we can teach Drew Sample to be an elite receiver because he's got all these other traits. No, you can't. Don't take this guy too early, but that doesn't mean I don't like Kris Jenkins. And I think in the 3rd round, yeah, could he rotate with, is he like a defense upgrade for run defense over Zach Carter? Yeah, I think he probably is. So it depends on what you're at and how the offseason goes. So I'm not interested at 18, clearly. Not interested at 49. But if we get to round 3 and they still haven't addressed defensive tackle, it'll depend on who's there and what type you need after free agency. But that's where I'm slotting Kris Jenkins as of now. So we got 2 guys here that I was recommended, and based on the consensus boards, I'm probably a little bit lower on both of them. We'll see. I think Taylor could rise. Not sure Jenkins will. I think Jenkins is going to fall a little bit. This has been Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry. The show is brought to you by First Star Logistics. We are deep in the tape, and we are full on with NFL draft. But I do have some other things coming up here. We're going to look at some free agents. We're going to go over a mock free agency, or this is what we can do with the money. This is what they can do. This is what the options are. Should you tag this guy? Should you re-sign this guy? Should you cut this guy? Yada, yada. We'll do all that, and then we'll take it and do a mock draft with what we did in free agency. I think we're going to do that in about 2 more weeks. Let things settle just a little bit. Wait till after the Super Bowl, and then you have the whole league focusing in on the offseason. This has been episode 54. Until next time, Who Dey?
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.